okay, why would a business owner choose to grow by acquisition, choose to grow externally? I mean, I think this is time travel. It's the closest thing we're all going to get to time travel, because in a nutshell, growing externally is faster than any other method you could do internally in the business. It requires less capital, it gives you more flexibility, and it actually means you accomplish more than you would do all under your own steam. I mean, how would you use this powerful form of leverage? The most obvious choice is you could acquire, say, a competitor, right? A competitor of a similar size to you. And you wake up the next day and you've literally doubled the size of your business overnight. Literally. And look, if that's not time travel, I don't know what is. And the effect is larger than that, because it means we essentially, think about yourself. We essentially, all of us have three resources to our disposal. You've got the time. Everyone's got 24 hours in a day, right? You've got the money that flows through your hands and through your business. And you've got the energy that you used to use on a daily basis to dig ditches, right? We've all got these resources. And it's how we juggle these three resources that kind of determines how far or how fast we get to where we're going in this long distance race that we call business. So I'm sat here before you, and if we had a sheet of paper between us, and we wrote down your business goals, right? If you could accomplish all the goals on that sheet of paper in less time, with less sweat equity, and with less internal financial commitment, is that an opportunity you would take up? Of course you take it up. And that essentially is the spirit of entrepreneurship, to accomplish more with less resources. And let's say your company was lacking certain skills. You could acquire those skills through an external acquisition. I mean, this is the kind of leverage we are talking about here. Company A lacks certain skills that company B has, and company B might be lacking skills that company A has. The merging of those two companies, okay, is worth more than the individual companies assessed separately. It's, in an ideal world, it's a marriage made in heaven. And think about the savings that company A saves through research and development. I mean, what would it cost in training, in intellectual software development, just to attain the skills that company B has? And the savings are just incredible. And that's like on the cost side of the equation. But then the gains, the intellectual capital gains, the human capital gains, obviously the financial capital gains. Once again, it's leverage. It makes me think about that movie, Willy Wonka, right? Where the lead character, Willy Wonka, he says, you know, the limits of your imagination, right? And it really is, the possibilities are endless. Let's give a goal. Let's say your goal is to increase the profit margins of your company, like right now from a standing start, increase the profit margins. Right? Well, you could look at the product or service you provide and look vertically up and down your industry. You could start thinking about acquiring your manufacturers, your producers, your distributors. and gobble up the margins that way. Or you could say, you could get a bit more creative. You could look at your marketing, and you could acquire a business that's not even in your industry, but you might share a customer base. Right? How that work? Let's use a simple example of a bakery. Okay, bakery that makes 100 different varieties of cake and supplies. Who's the end customer of the bakery? A cafe, a coffee house, right? Well, who else is a supplier to that coffee house? Maybe a coffee supplier. Okay? You could acquire, if you own a bakery that supplies coffee houses, you could acquire a coffee supplier, right? So by acquiring that coffee supplier, you now have acquired the list of that coffee supplier, and it might expose you to more cafe houses that can become the customers of your original bakery, and vice versa. The coffee house customers will be introduced to your bakery customers. I mean, this is super leverage on another level. So, time travel. That's why we grow externally.